So this is an important video because I know quite a number of people by now have started experiencing this. Now, if you live in Nigeria, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, by now, you have a Peugeot vehicle. Expect that if your thermostat, engine cooling system thermostat is weak, by now it will fail, or expect it to fail soon. So this is the weather that they fail often. Like I say, if your thermostat is weak already, before now, if it was still, if even though it might be weak, let's assume the rainy season, it's weak, but it will still run most times because they don't work as hard as they do when the weather is hot. When the weather is hot, they work much harder. Right now, weather is very hot in Nigeria, especially in this northern part. Here I'm in Abuja. So what tends to happen is they still open more often, work harder, because the coolant temperature will be extremely hot, and before you know it, they will give up. Unlike when they are during rainy season, you could tell that, or even Hamatan, weather is not actually not hot, Hamatan time. So you could tell, even though we are partially in Hamatan, sort of, but not full Hamatan. Um, you could tell the weather will be cold. So the faster you go, so I could say your engine temperature will not be cold, but it won't be as hot as right now, where in Nigeria or here in Abuja, when the ambient temperature now will be probably 30 something degrees Celsius. Unlike the rainy season where it will be sometimes 24, 23 or thereabout. So that's expect it will likely fail. If yours is weak before now, if it's weak before now, it will fail. So the reason why we are doing this is don't go and start chasing the shadows, because once your house start having overheating issue, the first thing to do is to rule out your coolant. I would say, not coolant thermostat, but engine cooling system thermostat. Rule it out. I mean, to be sure that's not the cause. There are ways of testing it. I know I've done videos on that to know if it's your thermostat. One of the ways, it might not give you the accurate finding, but at least to narrow it down for you. When your engine is overheating, stop the vehicle, open the bonnet. Your radiator will have two big hoses on it. Now it could depending on the model of your radiator. Both hoses might be on top of the radiator, by the side of the radiator, or one will be on top, the other will be below the radiator. So it all depends on, like, again, on the model of the radiator. And yeah, so we'll work with that, the model. So what that means is both of them, one of them, both should be hot. If your thermostat is okay and your car is overheating, both hoses must be very hot. That is enough to tell you, okay, your thermostat is working. Now, if one of the big hoses is cold or a little bit warm, while the other one is extremely hot, and your engine is overheating, it doesn't necessarily mean it must be thermostat, but thermostat could be the cause. But then the other things, but at least you now have you have narrowed it down that it could be the thermostat, one. Two, it could be air lock. If there's air pockets issue, there's air in your engine cooling system, yeah, it could cause that. Because what usually happens is, let's assume this how thermostat usually is mounted, facing this way. So air will come behind it and stay. It won't allow you to open, because this thing will not fill the coolant. Instead, air won't be as hot as coolant, so it will open to pass the fluid. So it will make the one of the hoses to stay cold. Likewise, if your radiator is blocked, it will do the same thing. Then there's one small hose that usually attach on the radiator, from the radiator to the coolant reservoir or coolant tank. If that hose also is it depends. Some models could be plastic hose, some models it could be um, uh, just normal hose. While some models they don't even have that hose on the radiator, because like for the ES9J4S, ES9A, that hose comes from there's a water tank, kind of looks like water separator that's on top, directly facing the radiator. So that's where that one comes from, to the expansion tank. So it's like my point is, if that hose blocks too, yeah, it could cause the overheating. Now I mentioned first thermostat 1, radiator, if blocked 2, if there is air in the system 3, if that hose is blocked, that small pipe or plastic hose from goes to the expansion tank is also blocked, that will make it fall. If your water pump also has failed, that will also give you the same symptoms. So always understand that yeah, one of these things will cause one of the hoses to stay cold. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. But most times during this season, you end up get finding out that this is actually the problem, but it doesn't mean it must be your own case. I'm saying expect that it might happen again if your thermostat is already weak, which you might not know until you hit dry, hot weather in Nigeria, season in Nigeria, then it will give up finally. Okay, so hope this makes sense. I know it's taking a while to explain this, but I just replaced this one. This actually, funny enough, this was actually a used one, fully used one, that was mounted on a client's vehicle. We changed it, put it on a client's vehicle. How many days? You could just say probably approximately 2 months now. But it was during the rainy season that we did it. So let's just say maybe 2-3 months. I think it was in October, if I'm not mistaken. So just 2 months. Now it has failed. And unfortunately the new one is not available here, at least in Abuja. So I had to go for another used one. Alright, so that's what I'm saying. If it's weak, but if it's new, let's assume you put a new one recently, and it's a good new one, of course you shouldn't worry about it. So alright, so that makes sense, hopefully, and you learn something from here. So this one is actually for TU5JP4 engine, TU3JP engine. They all use the same thermostat. You can see the opening temperature is 89 degrees Celsius. Alright, so this one failed by shut down, close, didn't open, and the car started overheating. As soon as diagnose it, I knew immediately put the thermostat. I got another one, put it, the issue went away. Okay, so I think I'm done. I don't know if I have any other thing to do.